Hello, friends. So good to be with you on this week's podcast for leadership. I've got something I want to talk to you about today. I want to talk to you about profanity. You know, I'm always talking to people about success, things that bring success, things that steal your momentum, steal your success, things that leave you in a good light, and things that leave you in a bad light. Now, there's a lot of that going on. Well, I was talking to someone the other day, and we were basically just talking about profanity. They asked, what do I think about that? And they told me, they said, this is just life. This is just what goes on, and there ain't nothing you can do to stop it. Profanity is just everywhere. I mean, serious profanity, not when I was a kid that we cross lines. I mean, it's just almost become it has become such a way of life that there's almost no restraints, no boundaries to it. My daughter, she teaches high school English, and she just said, "Dad, you have to understand, it's everywhere, and there's almost no boundaries that people are willing to cross from the standpoint of their vocabulary and what they say, the harshness of their profanity." And I was listening to a podcast the other day, and quite honestly, I was stunned. I really was. I was blown away by how much profanity was used in that thing. And I thought, this is a setup. I mean, nobody talks that much. Am I being punked? Nobody talks that much. No, really, nobody does that. But, apparently they do much more than I realized, or a lot of us realized. But is this what we want? I mean, I'm serious. Is that what we want? I know profanity is used a lot today, and it's kind of accepted as the new norm. But I think somebody needs to say something about it like this, and that is the fact that it's wrong for us as a civilized society where we rub shoulders with other people to be so completely unrestrained with our verbal assaults on others and toward one another. I don't care how much you dress it up. It's just wrong. It is. The level of profanity. And I understand, and I'm not talking about somebody just using a swear word here or there, but when it becomes as predominant as it is, it's out of balance. It's wrong. I mean, you would never go into a place of honor and use language like that. You just wouldn't do it. Do you know why? Because it's wrong. It's a lack of respect. That type of language usage is basically saying, I'm unrestrained and I have no respect for myself or for anybody around me. See, if you're going to hold any form of excellence in your life, any position of authority, you got to think about this. You're going to have to make the decision to control what you say as much as you control what you do. Now, that's very important. And our search for excellence, which is the thing that I've been coming to you continually over this leadership podcast, our search for excellence, it demands that we never allow ourselves to use that dark profanity. Somebody say, why? Well, because it's beneath us. It's beneath you. And that is just the truth. You are better than that. And that only belongs to what I would consider as a lower class element. Actually, I think that people overuse profanity, and really, how can I embrace part of it and not embrace all of it? But it just seems like it has gone way out of its boundaries. It's almost out of control. But I think that people who use profanity like that do so for a couple of reasons. One, they're undisciplined. Number two, they're untrained. And also probably very uneducated. So much so that their vocabulary can't support their emotions. In other words, they've got things on the inside of them that is just so big, and they don't have the vocabulary to even express how they feel. So you get a lot of profanity as people attempt to tell you what they think when they don't have the vocabulary for it. Most people's vocabulary is only about 15 words anyway. And they get so emotional and so high-strung, so they just draw out this string of profanity that is just very offensive. And it's very telling on you as a person. So, well, think about it. Stop and listen. They can hardly get through a sentence without offending everybody in the place, either because of their lack of personal restraint or constraint, whatever it might be, or it's a total lack of respect for anyone around them. No class whatsoever. I'm telling you right now, people who are overindulgent in profanity lack class. And I'm not sure that they're the kind of people that you want on your team. And I'll tell you why. There's a couple of reasons why. See, I'm concerned about my future. I am. I'm concerned about my success. And that's why I don't use profanity. I don't hang with people who overuse profanity. And I refuse, listen to me, I refuse to pay money to see an entertainer insult my intelligence by sliming me with something that makes me feel like I need to go take a shower after I've listened to them. I've listened to comedians. It's almost like comedians have morphed into something that's just not good over the years. I mean, these days, they're not even really funny anymore. They just gather a few thoughts together and then they start in the right direction, but obviously they don't have the depth in their routine, so they just begin to fall back into the 27 versions of a four-letter word. And most likely it's because that they're not really that good at what they do. They don't have the ability to really create the material that they need, so they just rely on shock comedy or porn comedy. Just something to kind of throw people off a little bit. I mean, there was a time when comedians, they didn't have to use profanity. Come on, you know some of those. They didn't use racial slurs. They weren't over excessive in profanity, but they were genuinely funny. I mean, they put on shows that you could actually watch, some that you could actually take your family to. I mean, it was brilliant in the old days. In the old days, they could sing, they could dance, they could play just about any instrument. They made you laugh. You know, they made us feel better. They made fun of themselves, and then they entertained us with satire about ourselves. I mean, it was a day where you saw true talent. Now, I know that there's a lot of acceptance to this gutter, how can I say this, gangster talk. It's used in songs, it's used throughout our society, but that's not what you want for your children. And so why would you open the door to something that is so toxic and so disgusting as that? I want you to listen to me. This is about success in life. And I don't trust people who can't control their temper. They can't control their words, they can't control their impulses, and they can't control their money. I'm telling you, you hook up with that kind of a person and they'll take you right into the ditch with them. But when it comes to our vocabulary, and this is why this is so very important, when it comes to our vocabulary, there are things that we just don't say, simply out of respect for the people that we're around and out of respect for ourselves. We are better than that. Come on, you are better than that. You know, years ago, I was listening to a comedian, this was many years ago, and he was going to list all the words that you can't say on television. And of course, he had to tell everyone what each one of them was. And I thought, you know, don't you really think that there's a reason you can't say those words? You can't say those words on television because they're inappropriate. They're just wrong. They're nasty. There's something that is beneath your class, that's a little beneath your intelligence. And I'm just telling you that to open the door to something in your life that can directly affect your character, your core values, your success, you need to be wary of. Your lack of discretion, and this is very important, lack of discretion, uncontrolled and undisciplined language could have a tremendous impact on your life. It could have a tremendous impact on your job. It'll have an impact on the people. They see something about you that's a little distasteful, and it will cause them to put up a wall to you. See, if you can't say it in front of people you respect and want to gain their respect, then it's probably wrong. So when considering success, here's my concern. People are watching you more than you realize. As I'm growing in my influence, and influence is leadership, as I'm growing in my influence, and all of us are growing in our influence, if we do what's right, if we keep our word, if we do the things we're supposed to, people are going to be drawn to us and we affect them. I remember, I think it was the first time I'd ever gone to Boston, and I flew into Boston. I was taking a tram to go over to the car rental place because I was needing to get a car. And so I'm sitting there and I'm talking to people, and someone behind me that I did not know spoke up, and they just said, Jerry Edmond. Well, that was kind of weird. They said, I recognized your voice. See, they heard me speak someplace in Illinois, and it made me pause and think, what if I was doing something that was inappropriate, or that I might be ashamed of, or that would be a bit beneath me, and I've got people behind me that's watching me that I don't even know them, but they know me. See, that's something that I want to reserve for myself. I want to reserve my reputation. I want to reserve what God's given me in that. And so you have to understand, for myself, because it's a sense of class. For others, because they're influenced by what I do. Because again, I want to say it, leadership is influence. So why the big deal? You know, what difference does it make? Here's the difference. You are going someplace. You have a destiny on your life. And you don't need things like this that are attached to you that have the potential to sabotage your future. And if you don't know what to say, then you need to just learn the vocabulary of silence and not say anything, at least until you can get yourself under control. Your future is too important. I'm telling you, your future is too important. So I want to encourage you today. Take control of your life. Take control of your vocabulary. Take control of your future. That's so very important. Take control of these things because you've worked too hard to get them. And I just challenge you to make the quality decision today to set some boundaries for your life, to set some boundaries around where you go, around what you say. The greater you grow in influence, the greater you have to have an understanding of those boundaries, because your influence isn't just the fact that you did that. The influence is the people that are responding to you. Your success is realized in the people that are connected to you, the people that have been touched by you, the people who've responded to you. That's where you see the fruit of your true leadership. So I just ask you to make some quality decisions, to put some boundaries around you in regard to what you say and in regard to what you do, because your future is too important. Your future is going to be bright. You know, I think this is very important. It's very important to me, and you know, I just think from a leadership standpoint, this is as important. You can spend years and years collecting information, learning this, teaching that, building something else, and then sabotage it through something you said to someone, or somebody that perceived you in a way that really doesn't represent you. You're going to have to put a guard on that, and you're going to have to be better than that. So that's on my heart. That's what I want to share with you. And please take this as a leadership lesson today and something that can truly impact you. Thank you for joining me. If you would like more information, you can go to jerryedmond.com. I've got a lot of resources there that'll be a blessing to you. And leave me a note. I'd love to hear from you. I love you guys. Come on, we've got a lot of things in front of us. You got a future in front of you. Let's go for it. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.